Have you ever been looking for something, then you sat down, frustrated because you just can't find it? And there, in the exact same place you've been looking, you suddenly see it right in front of your eyes? It was there all along. You just needed a different angle to see it. There are always two ways of looking at a situation. One way is the obvious one. The other way is often not so obvious. Yesterday, I realized what occultic practitioner Manly P. Hall was both saying and implying. Would you like to know what I found out? Hi, I'm David Daniels from Chick Publications. One of the devil's keys is distraction. Above all else, he wants you looking at something else, anything else other than what you should be looking at. That's why a magician waves his magic wand. He doesn't want you to notice what the other hand is doing. This is true of the occultist Manly P. Hall, even though he was writing to people who believed what he said. He was a leader among them. He was part of an elite group. And to his followers, everything he said was gold. The very same words that unveiled a dark secret to the origin and usefulness of the Codex Sinaiticus as part of the plans for the New World Order also revealed the reason for that secret plan, to pry people's hands off of the King James Bible. But when I looked at them another way, they revealed something else I hadn't noticed until just a couple of days ago. In the spring 1944 issue of Horizon, the magazine of useful and intelligent living, is the article Asia in the Balance of the Scales. That's the article that openly plans for a new world order. He makes no bones about it. I put sections of it in the book. Is the world's oldest Bible a fake? But now those once hidden articles have been put on the internet so that you can see them for yourself. Let me refresh your memory. Quote, "To make things right after World War II ends, we will have to undo much that is cherished error. The problem of revising the Bible shows how difficult it is to do this. For the last 100 years, we have been trying to get out an edition of the Bible that is reasonably correct, but nobody wants it. What's wanted is the good old King James Version, every jot and tittle of it, because most people are convinced that God dictated the Bible to King James in English." End quote. Hall the occultist said he and unknown others had tried to get out a revised Bible for 100 years, back to 1844, when Tischendorf first discovered the Sinaiticus. Then Hall ridiculed anyone who would believe the jot and tittle of the King James Bible. Quote, "To Peter, heaven and hell were places, and the middle distances of the world were filled with spirits, good and bad, herded by angels and demons. With an almost unlimited capacity to believe, Peter questioned nothing. Peter was not different from many of the evangelists of our present time who, in the face of ever-growing knowledge, preach the jot and tittle of the Scriptures." Look at this quote, and you'll figure out the Bible believers are the second group. Here are the words. Pause and check it for yourself. Old religious fanaticism, intolerant, utterly limited in their perspective, jot and tittle worshippers. With all the available forces and powers of the elite leaders, with the cooperation of the mass of mankind, only one group was standing in their way, unyielding to their siren call, the jot and tittle King James Bible believers. Isn't that amazing? That such a small group, if it indeed is small, should wield such power as to be able to thwart and stop the entire New World Order? Hall, with connections all over the political and occult world, is telling us this book and believers in this book are what is making the difference and holding back the biggest movement of geopolitical change that they ever sought to unleash on the earth. That's power. That's ultimate authority over who governs this world, and it's only believers in this book that make the difference, and thus have the say over whether and when this new world order will appear. And that's based on whether they'll give up this book, the King James Bible. That's why they want to destroy it. There is no book like this book in the world. But if they can't destroy it, they will settle for the next best thing. They will change it. It only has power in its present form. Once modified, it is no longer the King James Bible, and God seemingly no longer has his hands on it. How do I know this? Because I've seen none of the worldwide fruit that the King James Bible believers have had in these books. The power that this book must yield over the occult world must be immense if they're that focused to try and remove it by any means necessary. The NWO's biggest threat is that book. And more than that, you believing and clinging to that book. It literally is what's stopping their plans. They know it, but they don't want you to know it. I'm telling you anyway. But let me ask you another question. If the King James Bible wields this kind of power, then obviously Manly P. Hall doesn't want you to have it. He wants you to be flexible, to be able to bend, to fit into his New World Order. So, which Bibles would Manly P. Hall recommend to you to replace this? I found him. These are the Bibles approved by the occultist Manly P. Hall to help you outgrow the notion that you can believe every word. Quote, examine several editions of the Christian Bible, as for example, compare the King James Version with the Modern Revised Version. It's English Revised Version 1881, American Standard Version 1901. And a recent publication, The Bible is Living Literature. Consider the polyglots. And get a parallel Greek-English text. We will discover numerous errors and alternative renderings and slowly recover from the infallibility complex from which so many Orthodox Bible readers seem to suffer. Read the Vulgate, the Septuagint. You will see the uselessness of picking phrases to pieces and trying to think in terms of jots and tittles. You'll be free to consider the larger issues. End quote. And while Hall falsely claimed that there are immense errors in the King James, this occultist treated Tischendorf's discovery of Codex Sinaiticus as a divine event. Doesn't that make you suspicious? Quote, this manuscript is one of the great books of the world, and although it was discovered long after the publication of the now universally accepted King James Version of the Bible, it is sufficiently important to justify considerable revision of our popular conception of the scriptural writings. It was only an act of providence, accomplished through the instrumentation of Dr. Tischendorf, that one of the most precious manuscripts in Christendom was not burned as worthless trash. End quote. Translation, Manly P. Hall wants your faith out of your King James Bible. You can be part of the New World Order. You don't have to join any movement. You don't have to read any book. You just have to get your hands off of this one, the King James Bible. God bless you and have a wonderful day.